Oh,
yeah. Turn it right back down.
Turn it down. Turn it down, kids. Turn it down. Yeah. Don't even turn it medium, man. Turn it off. Actually.
Yeah, just turn it off, please.
Turn it off. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Losers Lounge. I don't remember the Winners Lounge, man.
What is the Winners Lounge?
What is a real Winners Lounge?
What is being a winner?
Cold. It's cold. You heard it's cold. You heard it's cold.
That's what I hear.
My God, where the hell are we? In purgatory, still again, as the Nuggets lose to the Utah Jazz. And when I say the Jazz, we just got sevened. We just got sevened by the damn Jazz. Had a real time here. Micah Potter. We're going to have to talk about him tonight.
I wish it was Junior.
Fontecchio.
I wish it was Junior.
Chris Dunn, you guys remember him from way back in the day?
I remember him now.
MVP of the Summer League.
Yeah, busted back when Moutier did. Somehow here he is playing fake minutes for the fake Utah Jazz, who are beating up on the real Denver Nuggets, sadly. To help me talk about all that, actually, there's good stuff. We're not going to be all sad sacks today. We're going to have fun today.
No, dude.
Over here, big Avs fan, Brennan Vogt.
Big Avs guy ready for 2 runs at the same time in this building. Because the best time of the year and the best place in the city to enjoy that time of year. I'm stoked.
1,000%. Over here, somebody who's less stoked, I would say, than Vogt is, it's D-Line Co.
Yeah, the Denver Nuggets have given me no pleasure for a very long time. Like, zero. Like, I've not enjoyed it at all.
That was a weird phrase.
I thought that game was kind of fun.
But you're right. They haven't made us happy in a long time. I mean, they've made us like little bits. I wouldn't say they haven't been pleasured, but
I said they gave me no pleasure. Listen, the word pleasure goes beyond.
It does. It does go beyond. Over here, I got a superstar Dev.
I mean, each game
ridiculous
that we just get through is a game closer to the playoffs and where it really matters. One more of those. One more.
Dude, I'm telling you, it just feels like we've been saying the same things for
like 4
weeks.
Well,
we're almost there. We just got to get through these last 2 weeks, you guys. And here we are. Just one more game. We're going to be one more half. It's just going to keep being like that. Tonight, the Nuggets, though, fall. The starters were back. I'm going to do a fast, quick recap here. Starters are back. That was exciting news.
A fast, quick recap?
Yeah, I'm not going to do a slow, quick recap this time. Here's what I should have told you guys. I should have stopped taking notes. Jump ball, foul on Jokic. Utah inbounds the ball, steps on the line. There was not a second that I've never seen this where 2 things happened before the ball ever began. The game ever began. How crazy is that? We should have known right then that this was going to be ridiculous.
I did.
Nuggets off to an awful start. We wondered how the starters would look. They looked rusty, man, especially rusty and uninterested. Turnovers, missed jumpers, bad defense. It was 15-2, the Utah Jazz over the starter Denver Nuggets to start. Malone did not call a timeout, though. Malone, I swear to God, is like...
I liked that, actually.
Malone's the Malanger, you need to update it, where the top one just sits quietly and calmly.
Yeah, like I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. The way more... pointed version of Michael Malone.
I mean, he honestly, usually he'd be screaming, he'd call timeout, he'd do this thing. He didn't do anything. He just sat there like, you guys sit in it, as Eric says. The only guy who played well, I thought, was Aaron Gordon. He was driving. You maybe can say KCP early on. He got hot later. We'll talk about it. But it was 32-19 Utah Jazz. But fortunately, the bench stormed back. Those guys do care. This is the big time for them. And it started actually with a couple Jamal Murray pull-up jumpers, which is good to see. I saw a stat on the timeline today that showed the most frequent pull-up jump shooters in the NBA. All guys that were efficient except for Jamal Murray. Since the All-Star break, he has been absolutely atrocious on pull-ups, something we can talk about later. 8-man rotation in the first half, which was interesting. Maybe something we're going to see in the playoffs, maybe. Jokic comes back in and looks pretty lethargic, but the Nuggets did close the half well. It was 58-55. They started to get a little bit of a run there at the end. Starters back in, took a lead immediately, and I swear to God, the starters were done. They almost were looking around totally like, why am I still in here? Utah comes back. KCP hit 6 threes, then make it 7 threes in this game. Peyton Watson came in and played with Christian Brown and Jokic for a nice little run. Had that huge block. I'm telling you guys, man, that guy's blocks, we're going to talk about them, but you know the one I'm talking about in the third quarter, where he fell to the ground, but it was such an awkward angled one. 95-89 Nuggets. Fourth quarter, Nuggets kind of threw in the towel. I mean, they don't care about this game. Starters are out. You go to some other combinations, and they couldn't get it done, man. They couldn't stop Micah Potter Jr. or Fontecchio. Those guys go on a run and close this thing out with a 114-109 victory. All right, start us off, Dev. You have to have a big takeaway. Make it as big as you can.
So the one thing that I asked for, it was my dying wish, was for KCP to have a
Let's
bounce
go.
back game, for
Yes.
him to shoot it from beyond the three-point line, and that it goes into the rim. Not only did it go into the rim, it went in 6 times.
I think it's 7.
Was
There's only 6?
6 of them. That's what he needed. That's what Denver needs. He's been, I feel like, in the biggest funk out of the starters for the Nuggets. So for this game to not really have much, to pick out of, that was a bright spot. That was something that Denver needed, and it was big for them.
100% with you on this one. He's only played 44 minutes in about 10 days. And I always thought with him, he played a lot of minutes, and I just thought it's his legs, to steal your word. And a lot of people have been worried about it, and I understand it. There's like a lot. If you break down your general worry about the Nuggets into little categories, the KCP 3 one was the least worrisome to me because I was like, he's going to rest, he's going to get a week off, and he'll make shots. He's a vet. He's been here. But nonetheless, it was nice to see tonight.
Yeah.
Go ahead for you. I just thought we'd talk about that a little bit amongst us, but it sounds like not. What's your big takeaway?
Let's see. The big takeaway is that the were very rusty. They absolutely need more time to ramp up. And then they figured it out. They got it. They kind of looked like they were playing Denver Nuggets basketball in the second quarter. And then it's just, it's so miserable. I just want a game to mean something to the Nuggets again. Right. It's just, I still don't worry about them. But this just sucks, man. This is true purgatory because it's all there. They have everything. It's just they can't find the motivation, which whatever. I understand. I just wish that we were not in this.
Let me ask you this, Eric. What is the point of the starters playing? And I'm not being facetious here.
Sure.
Because I think the easy answer is, well, they need to get rid of rust or this, that. Well, they're going to sit for another 9 days before they play again, so I don't know if it's rust. Well, they just need to go out there and get a rhythm. They didn't do that really tonight. A little bit maybe, but there was not more than a 2-minute or 3-minute stretch where I felt like, oh, there it is.
No, I mean, I got it a little bit, like I was saying, in the second quarter. We got defense being played. We got good passing. But really, it all starts and stops with Nikola Jokic. I mean, he comically was not interested in scoring tonight. He was doing that thing where it was much more difficult for him to make a pass than just shoot it. And he would still make the pass and it would get turned over. And you're like, what are you doing? All right, that's fine. He was getting everybody else going. This is an annoying part of Nikola Jokic's character, I feel is that he just needs motivation for whatever reason. He's as you put it, he's the worst exhibition player in the history of the NBA. If there's not something on the line, Nikola Jokic is not going to give it to you, which I think speaks to his supreme confidence more than anything. But just as honestly, as a fan, it's so brutal.
He doesn't need to ramp up. He doesn't need to ramp up.
He doesn't need to. I'm not worried about him at all. It's just, my God, it's just this is so brutal. Get us through this, please.
Man, you guys are so down. Can we do my big takeaway?
Hey, so real quick. Eric sat over, you were separate, so you sat differently. And I'm telling you, sometimes I really do believe this, that you match the energy of whoever you're around. So you're right.
This game was fine. I would even go so far as to say mission accomplished.
Really?
The starters came out, looked as rusty as a rusty team could look for 10 minutes, looked terrible. Then they played really well, and they got the lead. And KCP hit some shots. AG had a great quarter. Murray knocked some 3 downs. Porter started so cold, and then he hit some threes. I'm really not too worried about that. I thought, at the top of our wish list coming in, the pregame was KCP hitting threes, AG looking good. We didn't see a lot of defense tonight. I would leave that off the list.
Yeah,
but
not checked.
I don't know, man. They played through the rust. They were fine. I don't care that Peyton Watson and Christian Brown couldn't beat that group in Utah. I just don't. I think it's fine, man. I think it's fine. And they may have to play through a little bit of rust in game 1 again anyway. There's going to be a break here. But I think it was important for them to see themselves stink, see themselves be good, and get one more okay, we know what went into what there. I feel fine, man. I mean, if they play like this in the first round, I'll feel terrible. But I thought today's mission accomplished.
How much do you guys agree with this over here?
25%.
So you don't think he made a very compelling case?
I mean, it's
I can try again.
I don't know that you can, because the starters then came out in the third quarter and laid another egg.
Well, no, but they didn't have. This is why the fast breakdown is so important. They went up like 14, or they went up big.
Yeah.
And then they had a letdown, which I mean,
I just wanted, like, remember early in the season when it was like, man, this Nuggets team is different. They just put their feet on guys' necks when they just don't play down to their competition. They're not. There's no outward motivation or outside motivation. It's just like inside of them. I'm not worried about them, but it's just like, man, I just would love to see them just come out and just be cold-blooded killers and just murder the Jazz. But I'd like the starters did enough.
So,
if this mattered, the starters would have beat the corpse of the Jazz for sure. I just want to see it again. You know what I mean?
Yoke was a -5 tonight. So here's the thing. I think I'm more on this side. I'm actually on both. Like, I don't care, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if I can say mission accomplished, because here's the thing. Every great player has a flaw. They really do. And Yoke, we always talk about him as if he doesn't have any flaws, because he doesn't have the typical ones, some of the vanity or, coming up small or this or that. But he does have a real flaw, and that is that he can't fake motivation. Yeah. He just can't do it, man. He can't do it. What did he do in the preseason? Took 7 total shots over 3 games. Tonight he went 2 of 5. And one of those was a 3 that he dribbled down and jacked up for reasons that I'm not quite sure why. Do you guys remember that play where he comes down and passes it up when he clearly should have just shot it?
Yeah.
And instead he tried a dumb pass. It was a turnover. Next time he dribbles it up with 0 passes and shoots a forced 3 that had no chance of going in. And you're just like, what is this? But Yoke's flaw is that he can't, I don't think he always understands that it's not just about him, because I see a lot of people in the chat, Yoke's going to be ready when it's time. Yoke's going to be ready. Guys, nobody has more confidence than me about Jokic going to be ready. The thing is what can the Nuggets accomplish if Yoke doesn't care? What can they accomplish? And tonight, I just don't think he really cared. They lost to this crappy Jazz team. He was a -5 somehow against this crappy Jazz team. Yoke's never in the negative. He was tonight against a crappy team. And again, how much can you really care about this? Probably not that much. I don't think we should. But at the same time, I do think a lot of this last 4 weeks falls on Yoke's just inability to be like, does this matter? Can I fake it? Can I have that internal drive? He's like, no, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I hate that as a flaw that's a good flaw to have if you're the second fiddle or like the second best guy on the team. Like if Devin Booker has that, it's okay because they have Kevin Durant.
Right.
If Jaylen Brown has that, it's okay because they have Jason Tatum. When you're a top 3 player in the league, it makes it extremely hard because, like you said, there's other guys around. There's other teammates who ride that wave of their best player. When he's in killer mode, the Nuggets are supreme. Like, they're one of the best teams, like, for sure. But when he has these, and that's what's been happening for the last, 2 months, that's when they looked like okay. That's when they look like they're kind of coasting. You don't want your best player to put the team into a coast mode, and that is a bad flaw. So you want them to have that switch, but you just can't have those type of things when you're the contender, when you are the team that everyone is gunning for. So now it's time to
maybe you can though. Like you said, you can't.
I think
maybe you can. Like, this is the thing that sucks, is that we've gotten too good at gaming the system. But I see a lot of people saying he'll be ready. Guys, trust me, he will be ready. It's a matter of, was there anything Denver could have accomplished over these last few weeks that they couldn't accomplish because he didn't care about him? And it's like, again, like, I host this show, right? If you're hosting the show and you bring bad energy, like, it's almost impossible. Like, if I'm here...
Oh, you should have seen the pregame show, dude.
But that's the whole point. Yoke hosts the show. He's involved in everything. So if he is not being aggressive or assertive or playing defense or doing these things, then like everybody else is just a satellite around him. And it's like, what are we going to get out of it? And that's, again, it's a soft complaint because we've only got one more of these and we have to get through it. But it is the thing where here's what it is. Everybody is online right now proclaiming, every talking head that just loves to, this is a fodder for a talking head. Oh. Because we don't know if this matters or not. Right. But people will all declare, yes, it does, or no, it doesn't. Like, full-throated, we're doing this. And the truth is, we don't know. And if the Nuggets do come out and flame out, everyone's going to say it's because of this.
Yes.
And then get to claim victory.
I mean, they'll be right.
You think it will be because of the way they ended the season if they lose?
Yes, I do think so. Because if they have everything they need, they've had everything they've needed all season long. We've seen them firing on all cylinders. We know what this team is capable of. And if truly they are unable to win a first round matchup, which I can't imagine, but if that somehow happens, you have to look to how they finished the season, how they were unable to keep their eyes on the prize and their foot on the pedal. I mean, I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all, but it just, I mean, like we say this, like this matters in that every day of your life matters. And watching the game matters, like, because it should have been a really fun day at the bar. And it was like kind of it wasn't bad, but it was like, okay, like, I want the city to be behind the Nuggets again. I see so many people questioning them. Man. I see so many people losing faith. I see so many people just completely. I mean, these are obviously the casuals.
No, but hold on a second. But it's also enthusiasm because, like, let's be honest, the DNVR bar hasn't exactly been popping over the last 2 weeks. And the reason, and like tonight's a Saturday, great weather, day game. This is a quintessential second to last, quintessential bars popping night. But nobody came. You know why? They knew this game wasn't going to be exciting. They knew, and so. Again, does that stuff matter? Again, it doesn't matter, but neither does anything. Like neither does basketball, neither does the NBA. So it all matters whatever you inject into it. And the Nuggets are injecting zero into it.
Yeah, I think most of what you're talking about is Jokic today. And I like the way you framed it of maybe the next step there is realizing that the other guys need him to play his way so they can practice playing their way off of him. Exactly. I think that's the right perspective. Having said that, man, I thought AG looked great in the first quarter. I thought KCP knocked down some threes, which was the number one thing everyone wanted to see. I thought the starters looked fine. Jokic did not care. I didn't expect him to care. I agree with you guys. It's a flaw of his. It's my least favorite part about watching him and covering him. But I don't know what it really cost him today. I think a couple guys needed to get in rhythm. They got some shots up. They looked good.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
I mean, I will say the one thing, like when we talk about everybody makes their proclamations now, the one thing that I think is the toughest for even the most ardent Denver Nugget believers, Jokic believers, Dev, are the Nuggets going to play good defense in round one of the playoffs? Game one, round one. Are they playing good defense? Because that's the part that they seem so uninterested in demonstrating.
Not from what we've seen. They'll play like more engaged, I guess. You could be locked in. You have to be. Literally, that's the only thing you can be. But from what we've seen, there's no way you could just go out and say, yeah, they're going to just play great defense. They haven't proved it. Right. So where would that ideal come from?
Right.
That's my question.
They did play good defense in the middle of the season. I mean, this year has been, I put it on Twitter, but first 15 games, Murray's getting his legs under him. Like, Nuggets are on the road every time. They didn't look that good. We were so pissed. We were then they played great for about 50 games. And we're
so happy.
Declared them contenders. We can, all this stuff. And they played so well over that stretch that they locked up the 1 seed. And then the last 15 games have been like the first, where we're like, nothing they've done matters. And it just sucks to have to say that two big sections don't matter.
This is also the other, it's a double-edged sword. All right. The Nuggets have never been the one team that had nothing to play for a month and a half.
Yeah.
The other contenders were jockeying for seeding. Denver was not.
Yeah, they got nothing.
Well, they're a flawed team, man. They're a flawed team. They're not the best 1 seed we've ever seen, but they locked this thing up a while ago.
A very long time ago.
That's their biggest problem.
Do you know, this is the Nuggets season can be defined by, for the last three seasons, they have been down a starter, at least one, some years two, a starter going into the playoffs.
Yep.
This is the ultimate overcorrection from a team that are like, true. We are not losing a starter. And they shut it down a month early and just haven't been able to turn it on. I mean, maybe not an overcorrection. I don't know. I'm just saying it's really, really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it is something. It is, I mean, what Vogt said is it can't be understated. Like, not only are they the only team in the NBA that have absolutely nothing to play for and haven't had. They were up 8.5 games when they beat Memphis. That was like that was a lifetime ago. And we said this in the pregame, like their penalty for going into coast mode is that they locked up the 1 seed with 3 games left.
It was 8.5.
Yes.
So this is what I love about Yoke. He's always the goldfish in the size of his bowl is the greatest line in the show's history, because you look at that and go, so we can lose 8.5 games. They're going gonna win this one seed by
I
one
know.
when it's all said and done.
He plans out the way he plays like I would my assignments in school. Like I'm like, all right, so I need to get a 64.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You do it
Okay, so to graduate, you said, I just want to write this down. Yeah.
So that means I could miss how many assignments? Yeah, like basically, I mean, that's where they're at. And not only is it in the NBA, but this is the first time in the team's history they've ever been in this position in the NBA. So I don't even feel like we know as fans know how to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just how it is. I've never witnessed this before. This is like so frustrating to behold because I just, like I just enjoy watching the Nuggets, and it's fun when they're good, and it's fun to be able to talk smack online, and it's fun to feel confident about the team. And like we're in this thing where it's like, yeah, but it's like, yeah, the Nuggets suck. You're like, yeah, but they're
That's
whatever.
only the last month.
Yeah, you've been bad for a month. Okay, but they're the one seed, and it's just like a lot of yeah buts.
Yeah.
But I mean,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, but I do agree in large part. Like the starters really did look good for in that second quarter, and to me, honestly, like that is enough. It's just I want to enjoy
I
my
love
day.
how low the bar is for you. You're not wrong either, but you said this all along where you're like, I just need one game or
Just give me a little bit,
it's like,
man.
I just need like 45 seconds of good basketball. I'm
Just
like,
give,
all right.
I'll take one Mike and Ike.
Do we have any other airing of grievances? I want to get all the negativity
let's get it
out
out.
of this
Let's
one
get it out.
because
Let's
segment
get it
2, I want to rave about Peyton Watson.
My question is, because you just said like this is like the question that the fans have. This is our first time being there, really. Is it also like the Nuggets like first time being there, so
Totally.
they just don't know how to react to
Maybe.
that? And also, can't that backfire then?
Of course.
That's my actual question there. Like you're in cruise mode, you've been there for a while because you've done something you haven't done, which means you're new to that idea. How do you know what the outcome looks like?
Right.
I think that's the fear that most people fear. I mean, feel for that.
Right. You worry about just going soft, man. Honestly, like this is a team, like teams that are in constant battle mode or whatever, you're always on your toes. You're ready. With these Nuggets, they've been sleeping in a little bit. They have, all those things.
Totally.
And now you're like, are you ready for the grind? And we think the answer is yes, but TBD. Any airing grievances?
No, I'm like a beacon of positivity over here.
You don't want to complain about Zeke Naji at all?
No, I just want to
Reggie
stress
Jackson?
that the core guys in this group, particularly Murray and Jokic, have so many playoff reps together and Game 7 reps together,
Yeah.
and they've played better teams. They've played worse teams. I don't think Game 1's going to come and they're going to be like, "Hang on, people play hard in the postseason." They know what it is. I think
so
they're.
true.
Maybe they lose that because they're not as good as we thought, and then we'll all have to reconcile this and cry a little bit.
Oh,
but I don't
God.
think it's got much to do with this, man. I think they geared down, and if I have to say that one more
they
time,
totally did.
I'm gonna find a new job.
Last one is
Respectfully.
Reggie Jackson somehow game high plus 12, and I thought he was
Let's
terrible.
go. He was terrible. Let's
He
go.
even got benched in the fourth quarter tonight when
the
Malone was
ultimate
trying to run it
but.
out, and he was a plus 12, which is just hilarious. All right, let's take a break. Guys, the negativity's gone. Shake it off. Shake it off.
Dude.
We're going to talk about P-Watt, a.k.a. P-SWAT, a.k.a. Swatson on the other side.
Oh, right. I do the reads. Let's talk about Fubo because it's one of the best ways to watch your favorite Denver teams. You've got options these days, folks. We've come a long way from the actual blackout dark ages of trying to watch the Nuggets and Avs on TV. May not be ideal, but you've got everything you need with Fubo TV. 140 plus live channels of sports, shoes, movies, movies and news. Stream live TV from any device. Watch your Colorado sports for the lowest price. 1,000 hours of cloud DVR. So if you're like Adam and you want to rewatch all your favorite losses so that your analysis is
sick.
on point, you can do that. Don't travel to watch your favorite teams. Just travel to that couch, baby. Watch the Denver Nuggets on Altitude Sports with Fubo TV. And here's the deal. Use the link in the show description, FuboTV.com/DNVR. You're going to get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. Check it out. Get the Nuggets and Avs on your TV. The playoff run is coming. This is what we've been waiting for. Fubo TV. It's awesome. You know
It
what
is
else is awesome? Shady rays. Because sometimes you go outside and it's too bright. You guys ever have that problem?
No.
Sometimes I go out in the spring and the summer and the sun's all up in my eyes. I hate that. I'm looking for sunglasses, and that's why I have Shady Rays. Independent sunglasses.
Sometimes I go out and it's bright.
Sometimes you go outside,
and I
it gets
hate
real
that.
bright.
So I go get sunglasses.
So I'm messing with your eyes, and I'm like,
what a personal
and I'm like,
anecdote to
hang on,
sell
I'm
these
not
Shady
done.
Rays.
And I'm like, where are my sunglasses?
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, I have not just one, but two.
What?
Because they're so
Oh, there you
affordable.
go.
And I also know if I lose a pair, if I break a pair, they'll give me a new one. Even if I don't love them, I can exchange them for free within 30
styles.
days. Shady Rays has my back, and they have our listeners' back too. Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com. Use code DNVR for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Listen, folks, sometimes it gets bright outside, messes with your eyes. Get Shady Rays. It'll never be a problem again.
There you go. All right, back here, segment 2, DNVR Nuggets podcast. Guys, I was already sold on Peyton Watson. And if we didn't see another glimmer of hope or flash from him this whole year, I would have been fine. But lo and behold, tonight he comes back and gives us more of the same. Honestly, he wasn't even spectacular. He just was the thing he's been doing, which is block shots. He had 3 blocks tonight, 6 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks, 1 of 1 shooting. He played 17 minutes, only took 1 shot. It was, I think, a dunk or a layup right around the basket. He played his first minutes with Nikola Jokic tonight. Dev, this dude's a player, and I know we talked about this the other day about should he play playoff minutes. I still think it's crazy, but I'm just telling you, my confidence in him is like as high as anybody outside the top 8 or so.
Is it crazy, Dev? Is it crazy?
No, it's not crazy. The thing is, like with players like this, it seems like it's all energy. His is not all energy.
That's a
He's
good point.
also skilled.
Great
He's a
take.
great playmaker. He's insane in help side. Like his blocks come in help side.
Yep.
That's crazy from a rookie and also a guy that's guarding a guard and he's stepping down with the bigs and blocking. One of his blocks today, perfect timing. I mean, perfect timing. The other one, he went out of his way to go challenge him at the rim. He could have got dunked on. He would have been okay. He would have played back. But that's just what you want. You want somebody that's going to give you that effort. You want somebody that's going to go out there and play hard. And I feel like he should be part of the rotation because he can give you those small minutes. You don't need him to score. You don't need him to just be a lockdown guy. You just need him to do his job, and he does his job every single time. Hat tip to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Like his game is replicable every game. He has looked the same every game, which is the greatest compliment. And it's not based on shooting. It's not entirely based on effort, like Dev is saying. I mean, he's just in the right place. And it's so crazy. Like it's been so long since we've seen really competent rim protection in Denver, Colorado. It's like I never even really think about a shot being blocked until Peyton Watson's on the floor, and I'm like, every shot he doesn't block, I'm like, bro, what's going on? Like, come on, let's block that, man. It's incredible. That block he had an Abaji where he was like somehow behind him, but got it. And then it was going to be a dunk, and he absolutely stoned him. It was wild, man. Like really, really impressive defensive plays from Peyton Watson. And again, like he's shown it to us every time
game.
he gets an opportunity.
Yep.
He's not one of these guys. It's like, oh, he had a bad game or he had a good game. It's like, oh yeah, we had a Peyton Watson minutes. Let's go. Like he's gonna flash. He's gonna jump. He's gonna be in passing lanes. He's gonna block at least one shot. He's gonna block it at the rim. He's gonna block some guy trying to shoot a mid range. Like everywhere. You see exactly what Calvin saw in this guy, and it's so encouraging that he just needed that little time, because we saw him play in summer league, and we were all kind of like, what is this guy's skill set? We don't quite know what to make of him, and somehow like just a season in the G League, which is something we've been like pining for. Like we want this G League to develop our guys. Actually worked. Like, he actually developed him. He actually looks like so much better than we saw at the beginning of the season. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if he gets in. Like I wouldn't expect him in like big minutes or big moments in the game, but like you could trust a guy like that in the playoffs.
Respectful pushback at him to something you said on a recent show. Not coming for your head, man. I just want to push back. I think he's a freak athlete. I think he's insane.
No, I mean, I'm on an island on this, so I'm clearly the one that's off on it.
But the margin for error he has, I think the next step too would be just keeping dudes in front. I know a lot of these are help blocks, but just keeping dudes in front of him to begin with. But the way he erases separation, and some guys can explode And some guys get up vertically. He does both, man. He just covers so much ground when he jumps. It's explosive. And my favorite part is the dude is, when guys or gals describe athletes as hungry, I see it with Peyton, man. He's just, it's April. Who wants it? Peyton wants it. That guy's playing like it's his finals. And I love that.
I mean, it kind of is his finals, though.
It is. No, it's been awesome, man. And I think this is a guy, I've said it before, who's going to head into the offseason and go, that was fun as hell.
Right.
I want to do everything I can to be in a position to do that next year.
Yeah. He's first of all, he's leading the Nuggets in blocks per 36 minutes. I know that's like a thin thing here, but he's leading him coming into tonight.
Not surprised at all.
1.8, DeAndre Jordan at 1.5. So he's blocking him at a higher rate than even DeAndre Jordan. Then you have to go down to Jack White right below him, 1.4, which is funny. Thomas Bryant right behind him. So really nobody that's playing real minutes. Aaron Gordon, to your point about nobody block shots, 0.9. So he's blocking shots at basically double the rate of a typical Nuggets game. Hey, come on up. You can have a seat if you want. Check out the show. Sometimes we get guests here. So that's part of it. And then the other thing I was going to say is he blocks shots the way Jokic gets steals. Jokic gets steals because his hand-eye coordination is so good and his reaction.
Yeah.
His blocks, when you were talking about it was somehow a dunk, he goes through, like that dunk today was like...
It was unreal.
Full speed, and he somehow found the ball.
Yeah,
he didn't hit
behind.
an arm. He just found the ball and grabbed it. It was such great hand-eye coordination, timing, anticipation, and I honestly think that's it. And you mentioned most of his blocks being help side, Dev. He did have one though tonight. You're right that most of them are, but he had one tonight that was just one-on-one. A guy I can't remember who it was tried to go over him, and he roofed him basically and brought the ball back down. He's so incredible. And then this becomes the question. I'll throw it to you here, D-Line. I don't think Malone's going to trust him. This is all a moot point. Do you really trust him less than you do Zeke Naji? Do you trust him less than you do Reggie Jackson or Ish Smith? Do you trust him less than all of these other guys, even a Vlatko, my guy, Vlatko?
Yeah.
Do you trust him less, especially when you talk about the role that he takes on?
Absolutely not, because of exactly what you're saying, the role. Like, we're not looking for him to come in and be a scorer. Like all of those other guys, you're kind of hoping that they'll, like Zeke Naji will hit a three from outside to kind of open things up, that he'll get in there, do some dirty work, do some rebounding. Although I will say, like, I don't know if any of those guys will be in the rotation, including Zeke Naji, including, Vlatko. So I don't think it's going to be a question of whether or not he is trusted more than those guys. It's probably like he's the one that is in the middle of, he could make it in, but probably won't. But I don't know. It's so hard to judge anything you're seeing at this point in the season because of everybody's motivations are just so questionable in the NBA. Like, you don't know who's fighting for a contract, who's been told by the coaching staff to ramp it down.
The funniest one is that we came into this last week is going to be a bloodbath. All these teams. And somehow every game, one of the teams takes it off. Like, even we had the Clippers last night where you're like, oh man, now this one's going to come down the wire. They punted on it. And maybe because
the Clippers, they didn't play their guys?
I know. We thought it was going to be a bloodbath. This last season it's been a bubble bath. It's been a bubble bath down the line.
A bubble bath. Dev, I don't see him playing, but to ask you the question, do you trust him less? Like, how many guys off the bench do you trust more than Peyton Watson right now?
I feel like only Christian Brown and Bruce Brown are the only ones that he's right there with.
Even Uncle Jeff.
Even Uncle Jeff. Especially Uncle Jeff.
Especially Uncle Jeff.
Like, really, he's shown everything. He's shown the exact same things that Uncle Jeff brings you. He's out there, and also he defends. I think that's what the difference is. The only caveat is Uncle Jeff can play defense. I mean, he could defend the big man. That's really it. But Peyton Watson does everything else. He's part of the rotation. He seems to know where to be on offense, at least just like instinctively. Like, he doesn't. I don't know if he knows the plays or not, but you don't see him lost on plays.
No,
like. That's big, especially with the Nuggets offense, because everyone else that came in, they've had issues with that offense. He doesn't seem to have it, which means he's just playing off of instincts right now.
Right.
Great defender, help side defender. Everybody is excited for everything that he does, so he has to be also a great teammate. He brings you all these other things while also playing valuable minutes. And I think that's what the difference is with everyone else. They have these down times. He hasn't had any yet. We've seen him for 3-4 games of all positivity. that means something. Put him in and just give him a chance. And I think that it's going to be the best for him and also the team.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here. No chance Malone feels the same way about Jeffers.
No chance?
No chance. I think this is where, whether he's right or wrong, Malone's sort of philosophy on vets and rookies probably only intensifies in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he's going to feel like he can trust Jeff, who's been on multiple playoff runs.
Well,
there's a little bit of, like, Peyton missing those free throws tonight. Listen, it's better that he's out there on the floor. That's the kind of thing. I don't know if Malone's going to trust him to avoid the mistakes. The effort you can trust on. The defense is probably good. But there will be times where you want everyone on the floor to know the plays, to know the time and situation, to know their personnel, not to gamble when it's too risky. Maybe they should play him. I would just be very surprised if Malone's ready.
Yeah, God, I don't know what to take from anything we've seen
so
in a
true.
month. Like I don't know if anything is meaningful.
We've had the worst job. We have the best job, but we've had the worst job over these last few weeks trying to make sense of all of this.
Yes, because I mean, truly, this honestly feels like preseason, preseason summer league. Like none of this matters because you can write everything you want to off, and you can assign good things to whatever you want. Like you can pick and choose because we're the ultimate part of sports, which makes it worthwhile. The result doesn't matter,
right?
So it's like this time when nobody cares and the try-hard rookies are in, like they look amazing.
Yeah. Well, I want to go back though to his point here, which is that he's not going to play. Which again, I don't think he will either, but. Your point about Malone not trusting guys, especially in the playoffs, the reason I think you might be wrong this time is because the guys he would surpass are also guys Malone does not trust. Zeke Naji, Vlatko Cancar, Reggie Jackson, Thomas Bryant, who clearly he doesn't trust. So I just think there might be a chance that Malone looks at it and goes, well, push comes to shove and you need another perimeter defender out there. I just don't know if there's a better option, even by Malone's own standard.
That's a good pushback. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
You know, his bench minutes have looked as good as anyone's in the last month.
The last layer of this onion, Peyton Watson
It makes you cry.
The one that makes you cry. No, Peyton really is Calvin Booth's guy. Yeah. I mean, by all accounts, we've said this all year. What we've heard is that everybody was in on Christian Brown, and I don't think anybody in the front office didn't like Peyton Watson. But Cal was like, "No, guys, trust me, man, on this one that's maybe people are like, could hit, could not." He's like, no, that's the guy. This is, wanted to put his stamp on that specific move. Christian Brown is hit. I'm already declaring it. He's a good player. I don't know how great he'll be, but he's a very good, useful player and in the mold of something you want. KCP hit. That was a great trade. He's a player that you have very few questions about. Bruce Brown honestly hit. Whether you are high or low on Bruce Brown, the price they got him at that MLE is like, come on, man, that's a great MLE guy. And then if Peyton Watson hits there, that's a lot of confidence. You go to the other side, DeAndre Jordan, did he hit this year? He hasn't played, and he's been a good locker room guy. He might have hit.
I kind of think they hit.
I kind of think it hit.
I know it sounds ridiculous, but
I would push back more on this if I had not sat courtside and I hadn't watched the inner workings of the Denver Nuggets and how
he's huge. He's
DeAndre Jordan really, truly talks to every player that comes off the court, is giving guys high
his
five.
job.
It truly, and he is very positive. He's very he truly takes the role of bench coach, player coach, seriously. I was very actually taken by that. I saw it. I saw why, he's the ultimate Udonis Haslem role.
Right. So it's a hit.
So, I mean, I would say in that way, we really didn't take away. There wasn't a time in the season where you're like, man, I wish we would have. I mean, we do wish we had more competence at the backup center role.
Early
I will say
in the
that.
Season, yeah.
I still think that's something that they're looking for. I think that Thomas Bryant was brought in to try and solve that because they never really saw him as a viable option, DeAndre Jordan, and it's been terrible.
I was going to get into this. The misses are, I think, both the deadline deal. I mean,
terrible.
Bones Highland tonight goes, actually he was 3 of 11, 1 of 7, which is kind of the Bones Highland. He goes off. I think he was 1 of 2 when I last checked this, so he must have missed all of his shots to end. But you bring in Reggie Jackson and Thomas Bryant, both of who I don't want to say derailed the season, because who knows, the Nuggets, right around the same time they brought those guys in, the Nuggets stopped trying. And I don't think it's their fault. But nonetheless, those two guys have been somewhat disruptive, it seemed. So I still think that's way more wins than losses. And the misses from Calvin Booth have been kind of small. Like they're contained.
Oh.
Those guys will be gone.
Dude, I don't think anybody can look at the job that Calvin Booth has done and have anything other than praise. I mean, he's really moved the team forward. It's been said by a lot of people, and I agree with this, is that Tim Connolly started this team and then Calvin Booth finished it. Like the last missing pieces of that starting lineup. Like KCP was so integral to finishing off, closing the final holes on that starting lineup. And then, I agree with you. Bruce Brown, massive pickup. And there were just other moves that I think that you can look at and say, like, overall, like, this guy has done an incredibly competent job. So I absolutely applaud him. I will say, though, the trade deadline deals were a disaster.
Yeah, they haven't gone well.
No.
But I think the broader thing about Peyton Watson and Christian Brown are just, I've said it before, but it's a philosophy of length and defense. Now I got a bunch of people sending me the measurements of, like, Herb Jones and Jaden McDaniels and how they're exactly identical. In fact, Peyton Watson, doesn't he not look like he's longer than Herb Jones? Herb Jones looks so long.
Yeah,
but somehow
Herb
Peyton
Jones
Watson has a wider wingspan, higher standing reach.
Yeah, that is surprising.
It's really surprising to me, but I just feel like the philosophy to me is what gives me a lot of hope. Cal next year is going to bring in even more guys like this. And what was cool tonight, Malone finally played Peyton Watson with Jokic, albeit for like 3 minutes. But he rolled out a lineup that was Reggie Jackson, Christian Brown, Peyton Watson. Man, I don't remember who the fourth was. Do you guys remember who it was?
Was it Zeke?
I can't remember who the fourth was. And then you get Jokic. So it's Jokic with basically some defense around him. And they looked incredible. That's when they went on that big run at the end of the third. And I'm just such a believer in that mold when you get the right caliber defenders and the right type of players. Christian Brown, Peyton Watson, both that. They don't make mistakes on offense. They stay in their lane. They can do some stuff. They're not completely helpless. They're not like a bunch of Torrey Craigs. And, they made something happen. So I'm excited for it. Let's take a break. On the other side, let's get to your Super Chats. Do we have any Super Chats, Gil? Just two? Maybe we'll go around the association as well.
There was nothing super about this game. That's the correct number of
Is there
Super Chats.
no Celtics fans? Or there's no, like, no?
Anyone from Utah that wants to chime in?
Utah.
Well, we'll take an audible, and we'll talk about Breckenridge Brewery, DNVR's
Doesn't sound like us.
official beer. And how about the Denver Nuggets official beer, the Mile High City Golden Ale? It's that same delicious taste, but a fresh new look. Well, it's kind of a retro look. It's both. It's new and it's old. Look at that retro rainbow sleek design on the can, on the case. You're going to want to drink it. You might want to keep it. Just put it somewhere in your man or woman cave. It's a beautiful and delicious beer. Whatever beer you're trying to get from Breck Brew, it's very easy to obtain. You can either come here to the DNVR bar, we serve a lot of it, or you could fire up the Breck Beer Locator, arguably the most convenient tool ever created. You tell it what beer you want, where you live, and it tells you where to go next to get that beer. If that sounds important to you, and it should, check out Breck Brew, check out the Mile High City Golden Ale, check out that Breck Beer Locator. And let's say maybe, hypothetically, you had one too many Breck Brews. You got a big day coming up, you're really trying just to feel a little better, and you don't want to wait. How about the IV Nutrition Wash Park location? Good friends, Denver Nuggets fans, friends of ours. If you tell them that you know the show and that you're there because of us, you're going to get 50% off your first IV nutritional drip. Maybe you're there just for a little hangover treatment, or maybe you're there for their offered services like wellness blood testing consultations, intramuscular injections with vitamin formulas, express lunch break drip, and hydration drip. We've been there together. Drips with the fellas.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it happens more than
I've
you
never
think.
felt closer to you guys.
That's right. Zero grav chair. It's a vibes palace. It's a real wellness center.
I would say go with all of your people that you host a podcast with. That's
right.
the best.
Check out IV Nutrition. Make sure it's the Wash Park location, and make sure you let them know that you're there because of us. And if you want to feel great every day, not just on your IV Nutrition days, you got to start your days with Athletic Greens. Gone are the days where you try to figure out what your vitamin regimen is, which one you take when, on what day, if it's even good for you. Enough. Just one scoop of Athletic Greens, 12 ounces of ice cold water, and you have started your day the right way. 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. Check out athleticgreens.com/nuggets. That's athleticgreens.com/nuggets to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
Dude, Draymond Green just tweeted out 8 minutes ago, sitting here with a big shiner on my I think he meant forehead, trying to figure out why am I taking so many elbows to the face and head, but nothing happens. Mind blown. 3 mind blowns. 1 shrug. Draymond Green gets away with more than anybody in the NBA.
I think I might know the answer to this.
That's so true. I can't believe this.
Is this question rhetorical?
Man, can I tell you something, though? This is a classic veteran move.
Yep.
This is a classic veteran move. One couple days before the playoffs, here he is on Twitter doing a non-finable critique because he's not talking about the officiating. He's talking about a shiner on his head. He's setting the table. When did the Lakers start getting the record amount of foul calls? Do you remember when it happened?
Yeah,
when they complained, right?
When LeBron fell down and then the league had to, the officials.
Say, Tatum did foul him.
Sure. Man, it wasn't the only time.
I'm just
He just had to get one in on Tatum. But they fall down. All of a sudden, they get all these calls, and the referees tweet out about how they're sleepless because of that.
We'll
missed
never
call.
sleep again.
We'll never sleep again, knowing how bad we've screwed up that call. So Draymond out here, man. I can't believe Nuggets need a guy. Who can be that guy? Jokic. He's never spoken before. Be great if he just went to the presser and he's like, "Yeah, you guys think it's weird that I lead in points in the paint, but don't ever shoot free throws? Do anybody ever wonder if that's weird that my arms are?"
I was going to say, like, he doesn't have to say. He can just like walk around, and they have to stop the game every 10 minutes to stop the bleeding on the back of his arms that came as a result of no fouls. But it'll never happen.
It'll never
As
happen.
if he just does months. This was in February.
Yeah.
No call.
He should.
This was
tattoo him,
November.
yeah.
No call. Like, just start showing different scars.
start different
They were
ones.
like, all right.
Let's go around the association here, including a preview of tomorrow. Before we let all these super chats roll in, as we let these all come in from this losers game. So Minnesota beat San Antonio 151-131.
Goodness.
Talk about it.
Great defense.
Talk about a team that doesn't play defense. My God. But look at those numbers.
Which
151.
one, by the way? The Spurs or
The
Hawks?
Minnesota Timberwolves, neither
okay.
plays defense, but
Yeah.
Minnesota did get the W. Are there crazy numbers in this game? 33 points for Edwards, 20 for Conley, 20 for Towns. So you get 3 guys that go
there's
for 20
7
points.
double-digit scores in the game.
That's wild, man. That's a wild one. And then the Clippers beat Portland. For a while there, it looked like they might not. So that sets us up for tomorrow in this way. Tomorrow, everybody plays, right? We kept thinking this last day was going to be incredible. It's going to be insane. It's actually sneaky terrible because there's only a handful of games that matter. Atlanta at Boston. Does that matter for Atlanta? Let me
Nothing
check real
matters.
quick.
No, Atlanta
they're
already is
playing,
locked
right?
in. On
Everyone
that.
is
but
locked
can they
in the
not-
East.
Oh, they are. So they can't even drop to 9. So that game's not going to matter. Philly at Brooklyn doesn't matter. Charlotte at Cleveland doesn't matter. Orlando at Miami doesn't matter. Indiana at the Knicks doesn't matter. You got Milwaukee at Toronto, which doesn't matter. Houston at the Wiz.
The
Wow.
only games that are position or seeds that are still in play are the 5 versus 6 Clippers and Warriors.
So you got Clippers
And then
versus
Lakers
the
and
Suns,
Pelicans.
and then Lakers. Okay, so here you have Utah's going to lose to the Lakers. It's in Los Angeles. Lakers will get that one. So they have a chance to move up to the 6. But then you have this interesting dynamic where you've got, do the Warriors not play tomorrow? Oh, yeah, the Warriors play at Portland. Do they want to win? Now, here's the problem. If they win and
They
the
get the
Clippers
Suns.
lose, they move into playing Phoenix. Well, guess who the Clippers play? The Phoenix Suns. So we have a weird standoff whereby the Clippers might want to lose to avoid playing the Suns in round 1. But if they lose and the Warriors win, they'll drop to 7 if the Lakers win.
This league
So
is
they have
broken.
an unfortunate thing where they
this
probably
league.
the Clippers probably just have to go out and compete against the Suns, who, by the way, probably aren't going to play their guys. They don't care about that game. Unless they don't want to play the Clippers, which I think is actually their worst matchup.
This is terrible.
It's terrible in that it's a weird standoff where you can't control the outcome. Are we into this? I'm into it.
Sure. I'm into it as much as I can be. I used to think the play-in was cool, but this last month of this regular season, we're like grasping for straws, man.
I
think it's pretty cool, and I'm into this. Also, wasn't there like a weird game with the Kings yesterday, where they like basically got to control and they decided to punt on it to like basically say we want to play the Warriors? I believe something like that happened. But like I do like
they're in the 6-3 at the moment.
I like the idea of I can choose who I want to play and can control, but then there's adding fuel to the fire. You disrespected us, we're going to try to beat you now. Like, it's kind of petty, but it's also like one last ditch effort.
I really am rooting for the Clippers to play the Suns, even though they won't have Paul George, which was, by the way, some news that came out. That it sounds like they're not even sure he'll be back second round or whatever.
It's going to be reevaluated.
He'll be reevaluated, so they're not going to have him. But nonetheless, here's why I'll make the case for the Clippers against the Suns. First of all, they have a great bench, or at least a deep bench, and the Suns have no bench. So I do think that, I know that's a small thing in the playoffs, but I do think the Suns will lose the minutes when KD's not on the court and Booker has to carry him, whatever. I think that will matter just a little bit. But mostly, Kawhi Leonard doesn't guard like he used to, but he does in clutch games. And I would not mind at all him guarding Kevin Durant or Devin Booker down the stretch and just seeing how that affects a team in the clutch. So I think they have a real chance. And then, of course, I love the Nuggets' matchup with the Clippers, so that would be a great one. So I'm rooting for that outcome. But I got to say, I also like the Warriors taking Phoenix.
Honestly, like, if Phoenix has the two toughest matchups, like, staring them down, right? I mean, for the first round to get either the Warriors or the Clippers is
Or
insane.
they still can get the Lakers, though, in a weird way. Like, I think there's like one scenario.
That would suck because they'll mow the Lakers down, no problem.
This is also the thing about the Lakers. They also have to calculate all of this into everything tomorrow. So I guess tomorrow will be interesting around 1:30. The Nuggets game won't be part of what's interesting about it, although we might get more Peyton Watson minutes. We might even get Jack White minutes tomorrow.
I'm into that.
I'm into it as well. Little Jack White minutes. Who knows? All right, what do we got, Kel? 3 of them come in.
Aussie diehard here. Woke up early for the game and the Masters. Play suspended at Augusta, and we lost to the Jazz.
You sorry,
How early
poor
did you wake
sorry
up?
sucker.
I love that he super chatted us too,
Only
man. That's
D-line's
called being
chuckle.
down bad. Down bad.
And he just wanted a D-line chuckle, but he got depressed, sad D-line.
Hey, here at the
on
bar,
show.
we had a Masters party. I had to golf. We had pins and aces here and everything, and of course, that didn't go that good.
Yeah, listen, guys, I can only be who I am. You know what I mean? Like the reason I am who I am is because I am authentic to my emotions, and oftentimes they're bad.
Bad emotions.
Guy with a hot take, $5 super chat. Just missed my over 53.5 wins bet for plus 210. At least putting down money here so I can bet on a great show.
Let's
Hell yeah.
go.
Man.
Well, that was another losing bet.
Man, this is
You're just hemorrhaging.
I called this matches the vibe of the show, to be honest. These are appropriate super chats.
Yo, oh my god.
By the way, petition to not have Eric on until the playoffs. Just Seth Bang, I'm here for it all. The good and the bad, the highs and the lows. See y'all tomorrow to wrap the regular season and move on to the real deal.
Man, I'm telling you, that's the right attitude to have. I've actually spent a lot of this last month thinking about this very thing. Like, what's the healthy approach here? And by the way, when I say healthy, I'm one of these guys that leans into you should feel all the emotions. You shouldn't
For sure.
couch your sport. I mean, sports, guys, it's meant for you to stir the emotions in your soul. So I think right now it's like, hey, man, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm excited for it. And hopefully Yoke makes us proud.
Checking in. Jokic's Eeyore routine is getting old. I do agree with that.
That was a main talking point for this today.
I do agree with that.
gotta
Lake
make up
and
for it.
Ball. Lake and Ball. What's up, man?
He always
no
wants
hate.
to close the show.
He says no hate.
Yeah, we'll find out about that.
But I see people saying that the Nuggets remind them of last year's Suns because the Suns also had a big lead in the West, then collapsed in the playoffs. Want to hear your thoughts. Hi, B-Vote.
I've heard that comparison once, I think. This is so different, man. The thing about the Suns is they went to the finals the year before. It's at least, I will say this. A lot of people, I've also heard compared to the Warriors last year, and people say, yeah, but they've been there, done that, so they can afford to do it. Whereas the Suns went to the finals the year before, broke through the West, did it, and then lost, and people are like, that's why you can't do it. So I don't know. You can't speak out of both sides of your mouth. The Suns also should have been there before and earned it, but maybe it cost them as well. I don't think the situations are similar.
They're not. They're not. And the Nuggets also have been there, done that. They've not been to the finals.
Well, they
but
haven't been there,
They
not
have
that.
been in. This team is hard-tempered. They really have been through quite a bit over the
good
last
take.
however long. Like, they just were undermanned up against impossible odds, but they didn't lay down. They never laid down. Like, this team is ready, and they do know what it takes to play in these playoff games. It's just, I don't know. It's I honestly don't see it, like, because the Suns never laid down in the regular season. They just got
The Suns actually treated this is going to be so blasphemous. I'm speaking out of the top two sides of my mouth right now. The Suns also took the regular season last year too seriously. They loved clowning on everybody and really like doing, doing all that stuff. And here's another interesting thing. Denver has 52 wins, so they're either going to finish with 52 or 53. Nowhere close to 57.
Nope.
Last year, the Phoenix Suns set a franchise record for wins. I don't remember what it was. 61 wins. And that pushed them, I really believe it, to the end because they had something they were chasing. Denver, can you imagine if Denver was at 56 or 57 wins right now, tied? Would they play on a back-to-back heading into the playoffs tomorrow? You might be motivated to. You might this or that.
Honestly, they should. They have a week off after it.
I know, but again, you're talking about a team whose last 3 seasons have been drastically impacted by players not being available for the playoffs. So
can you imagine if they're going for it? They're really going for it, and someone gets hurt in the fourth quarter.
The worst. I can because it happened literally 3 seasons ago with Murray.
So all. I think we all want to have our cake and eat it too this year.
All right,
all year long.
That's the best part about the cake. All right, go ahead and hit that outro music, guys. No 555 today, but I'll do it for you. Just one game left to go. In the Midwest. One terrible game, and then we're gonna get to have 5 straight weekday shows heading into the playoffs. I'm looking forward to it, even though tomorrow, I don't know what we're going to see tomorrow. Hopefully just a lot of P-SWAT. Swatson.
Swatson, baby.
You should be the only guy that plays.
You know what we're probably going to see tomorrow?
Colin Gillespie?
No. That would be fun, though.
That'd be sick.
Thomas Bryant.
Oh, my God. You say that.
What a strong tease, dude.
You say that.
I cannot wait.
Honest to God, set the line for Thomas Bryant minutes for tomorrow.
1, and I'm going under.
No way.
He has risen.
No, he's fallen.
It's Easter. We might see a resurrection of 1 Thomas Bryant. There's 555. All right, everybody, hit that like button for us on the way out.
Enjoy your Saturday.